The White House now poised for big foreign policy victory, as it has secured enough votes today to assure the survival of the Iran nuclear deal. But two Democratic heavyweights aren't among them. Charles Schumer of New York and Bob Menendez of New Jersey announcing earlier they would oppose the deal. Joining us now to talk about that and more, Chris Plante, syndicated radio talk show host of The Chris Plante Show, and Leslie Marshall, Fox News contributor and syndicated radio talk show host of The Leslie Marshall Show. Good to see you both.
Hey, Shannon.
Good morning.
All right, Chris, for those who were trying to put the kibosh on this deal today, this vote by Barbara Mikulski, the senator of Maryland, essentially means they have nowhere left to go.
Yeah, it looks like the veto cannot be overridden. It's a heck of a standard to use for passing a nuclear arms agreement. It's the first time in history, Shannon, that a nuclear arms agreement has made the world more dangerous. It's made the region more dangerous. There will be an arms race. Pakistan is already stepping up their production of nuclear weapons. Saudi Arabia wants to buy them. Israel is completely against this and knows that it's a disaster. It's the first nuclear arms agreement that guarantees that the other guys get nuclear weapons. The goal was to stop enrichment, to stop them from getting nuclear weapons. This guarantees that they get nuclear weapons on a timeline.
All right, Leslie, should we even be talking about this in this context? Because a lot of people feel like you've lost sight of the overall conversation, that this should have been a treaty as addressed and handled by the Constitution, but knowing that the Senate could never get to enough votes to approve the deal that way. Is this an end run around the Constitution in the first place?
Well, no, I don't think that at all. And quite frankly, to Chris's point, this quite frankly delays what would have been inevitable in 60 to 90 days. So it protects not just our one of our #1 allies, Israel, but others in the region. And we have to look at the demographics of Iran. I mean, right now, 15% of the Iranian population is under 19 years of age. We are looking toward the future, a more moderate population of the people of Iran. We're also looking in the future for supreme leaders, even if they continue to elect supreme leaders, or more moderate faction of the population. I think this is the best deal that we can have now with Iran going forward for the international community, and I think it actually makes Israel and that region safer, because otherwise we would have maybe been having a different conversation in just a few months.
All right, I know we could do a lot more on that, but I want to make sure we get to our second topic, a war of words heating up between Donald Trump and Jeb Bush, with the two GOP presidential candidates going after each other as Governor Bush takes issue with some of Donald Trump's more liberal views from the past. Trump just addressing it now on Geraldo's radio show.
You know, Ronald Reagan changed his. He was a Democrat with a liberal bent, and he became a pretty conservative Republican. I mean, you know, it's one of those things. You do change, and everybody knows that, and I don't think that's an effective ad.
All right, so these ads back and forth are a little bit crazy. There is a quiz now that Jeb Bush has put together, a website quiz, basically asking, would you rather support a candidate who strives to shake every hand everywhere, or is a germaphobe when it comes to shaking hands? Trump, it's a long, he's admitted long ago that he's not comfortable with that. I mean, he doesn't like that kind of thing, but he seems to have overcome it very well, Leslie, though. I mean, he's out there gripping and grinning with thousands of people.
You know what, the next poll going to be the one who kisses the most babies wins. This is pretty pathetic. I think this is beneath Jeb Bush, quite frankly, and I think it's beneath the followers in the Republican Party of mainstream candidates. I think, if anything, Trump's followers probably like the ad more so than Bush followers. As a bit of a germaphobe myself, I don't. This is going to bounce right off of Donald Trump. He's going to use it probably for gain and go up in the polls. I think it'll backfire on Jeb Bush, and I think he's better than this. I think he could come up with a more effective ad outside, drawing outside the lines, because you have to, I think, to work with and to fight Trump.
All right. And Chris, quickly, what about the fact that Jeb is using ads that specifically put Donald's previous, positions out there in his own words?
Well, it's always effective, I think, to use a person's own words against them. But Trump's retort is a perfectly legitimate retort that Ronald Reagan and lots of other people. I was a Democrat once myself. Look at me now. I grew up. It happens to people, and I don't think that Trump supporters are going to be bothered by this at all. Some might argue that Jeb Bush is a conservaphobe. That he's afraid of taking genuinely conservative positions. So politics. This is why nobody wants to be president, right?
Or 17 people on one side and about 6 on the other. All right, Chris and Leslie, thank you both so much. Great to see you.
Thanks, Shannon.
Nice to see you, Shannon. Thank you.